Mighty groups descended on Pretoria. They expressed dissatisfaction about President Jacob Zuma's decision to fire Pravin Gordhan as finance minister. The civil groups were addressed by former COSATU secretary Zwelinzima Vavi. Well, our reporter Sipho Sturman is covering the march to the Treasury offices out in Pretoria and is joining us now live for an update. Sipho, a very good afternoon to you. Do tell us more about the march. Who organized it and what have they planned for the rest of the day?
A very good afternoon to you, Alicia, and our viewers at home. Well, the march started off at the Treasury offices at Pretoria Church Square. That's where we saw a rather large number of people, hundreds of people coming through, especially around lunchtime. A number of people left their workplaces to join the demonstrations there. And what had happened earlier is that they formed a human chain there, blocking the entrance to Treasury as a symbol of guarding the Treasury, of course, as a protest to the recent cabinet reshuffle by President Jacob Zuma. And during that time, that is the former finance minister Pravin Gordhan and his deputy SABC were there briefing the media, and after they had briefed the media, they then came out to loud cheers with the supporters, and they came out to thank the supporters, saying that they were surprised that a mere few hours after they were set by President Jacob Zuma, there would be hundreds of people coming on board to lend their support. Of course, this was organized by Save SA. It was also Section 27 is also part of this. We have TAC also part of this, and we also have the newly formed South African Federation of Trade Unions, that is SAFTU, that is led, of course, by Zwelinzima Vavi, who is on the podium right now. They were just addressing supporters here at the union buildings, telling them of the way forward. And from what we are gathering is that the way forward on Monday is that they are calling for the country to be shut down on Monday with massive demonstrations back at the Treasury again. So for the day, this is where it stops in terms of this demonstration. But I do have with me some of the people that are here just to get a sense of why did they decided to join this demonstration. So talk to us. You've been part of this demonstration. Why join it?
The thing that made us join this demonstration is that we are part of the newly formed federation, which is SAFTU. So we are mobilizing, we are going back to our communities to talk to people, to come and defend the country. Because people out there are losing jobs. People out there are volunteering. We've got community health workers who've been volunteering for the past 15 years and they are not recognized by the government. So the reason we are here is to make sure that we defend our country.
All right. Do you think perhaps, well, it would? We know that the president has the prerogative to hire and fire ministers. Do you think it's not fair to give the new Minister of Finance, Malusi Gigaba, a chance to prove himself?
No, it will be fair, but in some other ways, it's not fair. Because the Treasury at the moment was doing great. So why destroy something that's doing great? And the economy was good, but now that's the thing that he has done. It should destroy the economy, and people will continue losing their jobs.
All right, let me move on to the next one here to see if maybe you want to lend a comment as well as to why you're supporting this movement.
Yes, and as the trade union, the NUPSU, and as the organized labor, we are tired of the president to hold our country hostage in the broad light. So we are here to say, President Zuma, hands off of our country. We need development. We lose many workers, and we mobilize all the public servants in South Africa to join hands with all the South Africans to fight for their jobs and fight for their country. Thank you.
All right, okay. And earlier on, of course, as I mentioned, that SAFTU leader, that is Zwelinzima Vavi, did speak to say that this is not necessarily just about Pravin Gordhan and SABC. He says this demonstration is about protecting a treasury and fighting corruption in the country as a whole. And he said that it just so happens that Pravin Gordhan and his deputy, former deputy now, are just in the midst of it through being reshuffled. So basically, you get a sense that this is a big bigger frustration in terms of how the country has been managed. They feel that the country is not going in the right direction, and that these demonstrations are to air those views, and of course with the recent reshuffling really being the cherry on top for many of the people that are here.
Sipho, before I let you go, a quick one. Do we know how long the march is expected to take place, and if it will affect traffic in the areas and so forth? What else can you tell us about that?
Well, because the reshuffling happened around midnight, so there wasn't a lot of time to organize it, they say. But of course, they send out messages through social media to get the word out that people need to come out here at Church Street, and also to guard to occupy National Treasury. Of course, we did see a number of people here, a few hundred people, which is quite impressive considering the short notice. But they still want to see more people coming on board, and that is why they've said that people can now disperse, go home, and gather more supporters and come back on Monday. I mentioned to you a bit earlier that the movement, that is Save SA, is calling for Monday to become a national shutdown, and that churches and work must release people from work, and so that they could come here in Pretoria for a much bigger demonstration. So as of right now, the word from the leadership of this was that the crowds can disperse home, and they're saying that despite obviously this not being thousands and thousands of people, the fact is that they've sent the message and that they are not happy with the direction the country is going, and that changes are needed.
Sipho Stuurman live to us from the Treasury offices in Pretoria, and he was updating us on the march that is taking place there against, of course, the cabinet reshuffle news.